Eddie Hearn says he's willing to give Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder $7 or $8 million to fight Dillian Whyte this year. Stay tuned. Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing if you want to become part of the gang. Notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chat channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article, but the link is in the description. Shout out to ESPN.com. But the headliner is interesting. Eddie Hearn set to offer $7 or $8 million for Deontay Wilder to fight none other than, drum roll please, Dillian Whyte. And again, if you want to read everything verbatim, link is in the description. Eddie Hearn says, I would like Dillian Whyte to fight Deontay Wilder after he beat Joseph Parker. He goes on to tell ESPN, I'd probably go up to $7 or $8 million for Deontay Wilder to fight Dillian Whyte now. I'll be making Wilder an offer this week for Dillian Whyte again. We could do it in America, we could do it in Brooklyn. He seems to be worried about coming to the UK, so we will do it in Brooklyn. Wilder will want to fight October or November. Why wouldn't he fight Dillian Whyte? He must look at the last round and think, yeah, Wilder is a huge puncher, so he will think it's an easy fight and get $7 or $8 million for it. Listen, I'm going to keep this relatively brief. What I just heard from the Eddie Hearn quote is probably not what he intended, because I told you, everything is Joshua Wilder. I don't care about any of these other fights like that. Actually, I like Wilder versus Tyson Fury because I've wanted to see that for a while. But all these other, and see, this is the thing, Tyson Fury is undefeated. Dillian Whyte's not. Derek Chisora's not. You know what I mean? He's undefeated and nobody took his belts. So that's why that fight, he's viewed to me as a champion still, because he fucked up. You know what I mean? He did something in his personal life, failed doing coke and partying and all that, and you know, living the wild life like a WWE wrestler or something. And that's why he had had to fall back from the sport and had his like demons that he had to tackle on suspension. But nobody's beating him. You know what I mean? So Dillian Whyte versus Wilder, it's not a bad fight, but nobody's tripping off of it. But what this tells me is that Eddie Hearn, this more than anything proves what I've been saying, that Eddie Hearn, Barry Hearn, Matchroom, Team Joshua, Anthony Joshua, whoever you want to blame, has been trying to lowball Deontay Wilder. Because how on earth are you willing to go up from, you said initially, I want to do a fight with Wilder on DAZN for $5 million. Now that Dillian Whyte won his fight, you said you're willing to give Wilder $7 or $8 million. Wilder had the same performance when you offered $5 million against Luis King Kong Ortiz, who I was at his fight this weekend on the Mikey Garcia Robert Easter card, and he looked exceptionally sharp, right? Shout out to King Kong. And now all of a sudden, because Dillian Whyte wins his fight, you want to give Wilder more money? So that shows you're desperate to try to make that fight, and you were lowballing Wilder when it comes to the Joshua fight, because we all know that Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, two undefeated fighters for heavyweight supremacy and undisputed bragging rights, everything, UK versus USA, however you want to bill it, is much bigger than Dillian Whyte, Gerald Miller, Povetkin, or any of these guys, Dominic Brazil, fighting either one of those guys, right? We know this. So why are you willing to give Wilder $7 or $8 million? That doesn't even make sense. So you're telling me your first offer to Wilder for Anthony Joshua is only worth less than $5 million more, about $4 million and change, 4.5 million. So you're willing to give $7 or $8 million for Wilder to fight against Dillian Whyte, and Dillian Whyte's willing to come to America, but Joshua, the champion, is not willing to come to America, even for $50 million. So it's just not making sense. How is it that your first offer, the 12.5, is only 4.5 million more than what you're willing to pay for Wilder to fight Dillian Whyte, who has a loss to Joshua, right? It's just not making sense. So this, to me, with him saying this just proves what I've been saying. They've been trying to lowball, flat rate, because the numbers shouldn't even be anywhere in the same stratosphere of what Wilder should earn versus Joshua and what Wilder should earn with Dillian Whyte. You know, he shouldn't even be in the same tax bracket, because Dillian Whyte, he's a good fighter, but he's not a champion. And he lost to the other guy, who's Anthony Joshua, who has all the other damn belts in the division. So with that being said, everything's on the table for Joshua Wilder. But like I told you, Ego's army stand up. I told you, I really feel that Eddie Hearn he knows Joshua has to fight Wilder sometime soon. You know what I mean? As long as both keep winning, the fight has to happen. So he knows the pressure is growing and it's amounting on them for that. So he's throwing Dillian Whyte out as a henchman, hoping he can dethrone Wilder, get that strap, and then they can bring it all back to the UK for AJ versus Dillian Whyte, rematch from the amateurs, rematch from the pros, almost a rubber match, because Dillian Whyte beat AJ in the amateurs, and then AJ beat Whyte by knockout in the pros. And then if Dillian Whyte is able to derail Deontay Wilder, which I would favor Wilder, but even if he's able to do that, then now you can bring all the belts home to the UK and have to my knowledge, the first ever heavyweight British undisputed unification mega match at Wembley. You know what I mean? But even if Dillian Whyte loses, maybe he puts some miles on Wilder, puts him in a tough fight. That's what they're hoping. And or it at least stalls things, gives you a good readout of how he does with a barometer opponent that AJ's faced, right? And then also, it just, you think, because it's a UK fighter, at the very least, it'll build up Joshua Wilder to the point where, okay, Wilder, if he beats Dillian Whyte, then that got some more UK buy-in, so Joshua Wilder just becomes greater. So he thinks it's a win-win situation, but little does he know, Frank Warren and Tyson Fury are in negotiations with Wilder. So I think he should leave Dillian Whyte to fight whoever, and hopefully Deontay Wilder fights Tyson Fury. That's what I would prefer. No disrespect to Dillian Whyte. I like his trash talk. He's definitely reinvented his career, but it's Eddie Hearn's games where now I want to see, let's see Dillian Whyte versus Luis King Kong Ortiz or Gerald Big Baby Miller. And it's funny because Eddie Hearn kept saying stuff about AJ is the greatest big seller and stadiums and this, but he never reveals how much money is being made. Like Mayweather will show you at times. He'd be like, man, I got $100 million check, and he'll show you the check. We don't see that on the Eddie Hearn side. We just hear about ticket sales selling out in 5 seconds and stuff like that. But beyond that, he always like downplay Wilder's star power. Oh, just some little email from some guy in Alabama and stuff like that. Why do you want him to fight on DAZN so bad then, if he's just some guy who can't sell? Because Eddie Hearn is not being truthful, and he knows that Deontay Wilder has star power and things are different in America, and he's a good fighter, and people tune in to see Deontay Wilder's fights, his showmanship, his knockouts, etc. So once again, all that interviews, asking people on the streets of New York, oh, excuse me, do you know who Deontay Wilder is? That meant nothing. Literally meant nothing, because you continually are motioning, trying to get Deontay Wilder on your platform. So he can't be that bad. Anyway, Dillian Whyte, hopefully he fights Luis King Kong Ortiz, who looked very sharp. They both fought on the same day. That's a great build-up. The WBC ordered it. Or Gerald Big Baby Miller. He's a DAZN fighter. That should be easy to make. And I hope Deontay Wilder fights Tyson Fury, because I've been wanting to see that fight. 2 Goliaths, 2 giants. And as I said, Tyson Fury hasn't been defeated by anyone in ring. And he's a good fighter, tricky. And he beat Klitschko before Joshua. And he beat him with... He didn't get knocked down, and he just beat him with pure boxing. Joshua was kind of in a war, and he had to come from behind to get that knockout. So let me know what you guys think. But it's just funny that Eddie Hearn now wants to offer $7 or $8 million trying to land just some small guy from Alabama. If he's so small, I just can't for the life of me understand why Eddie Hearn continually wants to sign Deontay Wilder, put him on his own platform, willing to give him $5 to $7, $8 million. Doesn't make sense. Let me know what you guys think of Wilder versus Dillian Whyte, and Wilder potentially getting an offer to fight Dillian Whyte for $7 to $8 million. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.